difficult to pinpoint a time with various challenges because there have been so many. However, one thing, a constant reminder that I have is those hard decisions. If you explain the rationale behind the decision, right, and you don't have to elaborate on every decision, but provide that information, generally, people just want to understand why that decision was made. I think that's very important to be transparent. Why was this decision made? So that they know down the road they have some understanding as to the reason behind those difficult decisions. And we have to remain true to what we believe is right. And not everyone will have all of the information as to why we made those decisions. However, we know at the time that it was the right decision.
Beautifully said. Looking back, when I first began my career path as a leader, I was often in a space where what I would say wasn't really resounding to the people I was speaking to. I would say things that people would be taken aback by. And it really takes a lot of courage not to shrink, not to back off, not to pull away. Keep going. I do recall one time when I was at a meeting, I was providing an evaluation for a deaf child, and I typed up my findings in my report. And a family member was reading this report along with us and then asked me, "Did you write this or did someone help you?" Ooh, that threw me for a loop. I kept my professional demeanor and I kept going and I went through my report. So often, like you said, there are so many different examples where it would have been so easy to back off and take the easy road, but you've got to keep going. You've got to be strong.
Right. And I can imagine a few times you've made decisions and you've received feedback. And at the time, maybe when you gave that feedback, the person didn't take it, but they might return to you a couple years later and say, I should have taken that feedback. So often we have students during their capstone, and I'm telling them to elaborate on their resumes, and they don't take it seriously. And then they tell me a couple years later, you were right.
I love that.
And so it may not be immediate, that response, but it might come back later, that return on investment, and they appreciate your honesty and support.
You were just talking about communication. If you make a decision, explain the reason behind it. I notice often people don't provide the reason. I'm not sure if it's out of fear or if it's out of doubt. They just want to quickly make this decision. However, it's okay to explain the rationale behind it. What's the thinking behind the decision? We're trying to collaborate and connect that person. What you just talked about was making those hard decisions. I think it's very important.